Who is Aruba Networks? Some of you may have heard of us. Many of you haven't. But the idea is that we are a small company that's an aggressive growth area. We're growing 50%, and we have 14,000 customers and 1,000 employees. That's 1,000 employees globally. So it's like, wow, it feels interesting to be in a small company again. However, we do partner with many other companies to gain a global presence, so that we don't underestimate a small company compared to what we can do. And ultimately, through the Gartner Magic Quadrant there, as you can see, that we're not only up and to the right, but we're up and to the far right, and that we're really proud of that. We'll take an 1/8 inch if we can get it, right? That's sort of what's going on. How does it impact the business? How am I going to scale it? How am I going to be able to solve the networking problems and solve user problems, user access problems that are coming on quite quickly? So that's kind of the theme of what Aruba does. Yes, we have Wi-Fi gear, but we're more of an access company. Aruba Networks is the name of the company. So we're more of an access company than we are strictly a Wi-Fi company. Wireless was always considered an extension of the wired network. Right? You heard that probably 1,000 times, an extension of the wire. So all what they're saying to you is that all we're doing is cutting a wire, and now we're going to just produce whatever we did on the wire out to the wireless. Great. Well, if you analyze what's happening on the wire, each conference room has multiple jacks in them, right? You have your data jack, you have your video jack, your voice jack, and your maybe your guest user access, maybe 4 on that, right? And each one of those had to be managed individually. Take it to wireless, same thing. You carry a trunk out, you have your VLANs that go out over the air, and you have multiple SSIDs, right? And each one has a purpose. You have your voice, your video, your data, and none shall touch, none shall meet. One of the things that Aruba does very well is not only control what's going on with context-aware content, but also controlling the actual air and what's going on across the actual Wi-Fi itself. So what do I mean by that? Well, normally, access points, you put them up, and it's kind of best efforts. You put the access points up, and you hope for the best. That's what your kid does. In Aruba's architecture, when the access points go up, they are completely aware of one another. They can actually do spectrum load balancing. Those clients that can go to 5 gigahertz will be pushed to 5 gigahertz. Those who can't can be kept on 2.4. There's also airtime fairness. In some universities, the kid with the shiny laptop next to the guy who's 11B says when the teacher says, take the test and click now, you don't want the kid with the shiny new laptop, the 11N, to get the advantage over the slower one. So we have airtime fairness. We can slow everyone down to exactly the same speed, being done exactly the same time. So the fact that our equipment can do device fingerprinting and understand what device it is, what operating system it's running on, we can assign that to a role. So now if you're doing it for 3G offload, now we can understand the profile of your users that are using it, know how many iPads, how iPods, how many Droid devices, what have you. We can assign them to a role. What does that mean? Well, we can say, well, this is an iPad, now he's going to be using voice. We can now speed up the voice and slow down the other applications. Remember the previous speaker talked about all networks being equal. Well, we can kind of make it look equal, but we can actually play around with some of the how it actually works behind the scenes, so that that end user experience is what they expect to do. So just in summary, here is that what makes us different is the fact that we have a complete indoor-outdoor solution that's able to really capture what the user's doing, how he's using it, bend the network around that user experience so he feels that he's being catered to by the network. And being able to have a unified access architecture where whether they're inside, outside, or what have you, whether they're by a provider or a private network, that user, whether they're working at home, bringing the network out to them, having a corporate printer at their house, they certainly have the capability of having the same experience no matter where they go.